day 29 of my now extended 20-day water fast. Let's see. So, I guess we'll just jump into the numbers, shall we? So this is the next morning. I'm recording the following daytime. Got to bed a lot earlier than normal, so I opted to just go to sleep. So, so my morning pH was 6 again. My weight, I had another pretty significant drop in weight. It went from 176.1 and it dropped down to 174.4. So that's, pretty good. So just broke the 175 mark. So that's also, another milestone moment. Again, consumed about 3 liters of water, over 3 liters of water, bathroom about 6 times. For some reason, I forgot to write down the pH levels. I think I was in a hurry that morning. Yeah, I got up a little late, was working on some things, and then next thing I know, I needed to get going for my martial arts class. And I was just in a hurry to catch an Uber and didn't take the time to sit down and measure the pH and TDS and EC and all that stuff. So I don't have that information for day 29, unfortunately. So like I said, got up about 8:30, and I got up at 8:30, went to sleep about 11. Got in bed like 11:30 or something like that. But just kind of summarize the day. It was another, mostly just kind of feeling it out, kind of having waves again, like, there's this feeling of kind of empty, a little more emptied out midsection feeling. It's like my stomach, all that is just like, it's been offline for so long now. And then just everything gradually keeps dissolving away and deflating and stuff. There's a ever so kind of like an odd emptying, an odd emptiness, and I don't mean like in a spiritual way, but more in a physical way, an odd emptiness kind of sensation in my midsection, as things are just dissolving and getting eaten up. So it's just kind of interesting, and like when I take a deep breath, it's like a little harder for me to take a deep breath, or at least have the sensation that I'm taking a deep breath. I'm not sure, maybe just everything's all tightening up or something, but so I have this sense of like not able to take as full of deep breaths as I had in the past, kind of thing. So that's something that I'm just noticing. Let's see what else. So again, I ended up spending the night, the most of the day with a friend of mine, female friend of mine, older lady, and we ended up just having a good time, just chatting and going over some little video equipment that she had gotten, and I was helping her figure that stuff out and set it up, and figure out which mic was the better one, and tell her which one to keep, which one to return, and which other items to purchase on Amazon and things like that. And then she came over, and she's good at interior design work and art and all that stuff, so she gave me some suggestions about color schemes to do for painting my room, and a few other accent items that would help complete the environment, because that's definitely something that I'm really committed to, is controlling my environments. I mean, right now I'm working on controlling the environment of my body. It's like controlling how my body is shaped, and going through this process of fasting to reshape it, and to purify it and to heal it. But then I'm gonna need to continue on post fast, with the new lifestyle, the eating lifestyle that I'm going to take on, and to control what, to be much more in control of what it is that I'm taking in, to make sure I don't ever go back to where I was, because it's so easy to slip, and it's just like, but it's not worth it. Slipping it is just not worth it. It's too costly, too painful, too much misery, and I never want to go back there. So, so it's kind of like an extension of that, just extending out the ways of controlling and shaping the environment to reinforce, who I want to be moving forward. And so that also extends to, obviously the room, it's like where you spend time in your bedroom. So I'm like thinking very deeply about how I want to, continue putting my room together, and what things to have on the walls, and because your environment, it's working on you 24/7. So you got your willpower, but then your willpower can't override environmental influences, because they never stop working. They're just 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, they're working on you. And so my bedroom, having like a, if it feels like cheap and disorderly and negative in any way, that stuff rubs off, unconsciously. So that's why I'm like, realizing it's important for me to take the time and energy to get it right, get my room right, get my body right, get my body right, get my room right, and get those things really dialed in. And then from there, I've got all these other big, bodacious, outrageous visions and plans and goals. But, I'm like, okay, well, before I try to take those on, let me first, get my foundations in place, so that I have a very solid, strong place to just always be grounded in as I venture out to pursue those lofty goals. I have a foundation of like, groundedness and already personal accomplishment. It's like this has already been, quite the personal accomplishment. Like I made it to, made it all this way doing this fast, and it just like reinforces to myself that, I actually do have the ability, I do have the personal discipline and personal commitment to follow through on something that most people are unwilling to do. And so I'm like, well, if I'm willing to do this, I have a more confidence in myself that I'm going to be willing to follow through and do what it takes to follow through and make my other commitments to myself and my vision, make those come true as well. So it's definitely an exercise in discipline and self-discipline for sure, doing this. And it's like, and it builds confidence, there's definitely a sense of confidence, more a sense of like, building up my own sense of belief in myself that, hey, I set my mind to this, and I was able to do it regardless of all the temptations, regardless of all the, people telling me to stop, all of that stuff. None of it got in my way because I was fully committed. And that's what I realized, like getting fully committed. So, Yeah, so getting all of this stuff lined up is part of me being fully committed to doing what actually is going to take for me to accomplish my visions. And and the fact, again, like my vision, like my new vision for my future, that came as a result of being on this fast. And again, it was a vision that I had never ever contemplated anything like it before. It's so different than any visions that I've had in the past. Any thoughts and ideas about like what I want to do, that I'm just like, okay, that's not what I was thinking, and yet it's like the more I thought about it, the more it just felt it felt right. It just feel like it for the first time, it feels like this, it feels like something that would be it could be a labor of love, and I really get how much that's so, it is really critical for success. Like if you don't love it, it's hard to stick with it long term, so yeah, so I see for the first time it could really genuinely be a labor of love, and have like this feeling of truly making a real difference, changing the environment so that it reflects the environment that I want, and that I know that environment that I want would just make such a huge positive change impact to the rest of, to other people as well, but it's just like they just assume that this is the way it is, this is normal. I'm realizing there's a lot of stuff that's just not normal at all, not healthy for to say the least, and completely detrimental, and so I see that it's definitely it's personal, it's so personal. It's way more personal than anything else that I've thought about taking on. It's definitely something that emanated from inside, and not something that was just purely a external, like just looking around going, oh, where's a need that needs to be fulfilled, and then I see it and I go, okay, well then I'll go fulfill that need, irrespective of how that actually, if it's something that I'm passionate about, or or has some personal meaning to to me. So yeah, it's like integral. It's funny. I don't know. I know I already talked about this in the video, so I'm not going to labor this point too much. So, but I'm just contemplating it again some more, and I'm just like, wow, that is so funny. I think I touched upon it in like indirect ways, maybe in the past. There's more of like, how to transform your body, like that kind of stuff. Maybe do some workshop. I'm thinking about doing some kind of event. Have a bunch of different speakers that are all talking about different things about how to transform your body. And I'm definitely gonna have something where going into about the fasting, and and do it after I've already gone through my physical transformation. So I'm in the process of my own physical transformation. So so this is not something I would trying to do that event was not. It would be something that I would do, and be the after picture. Definitely have my before pictures, which are a little embarrassing, but I figured, I'm like, well, I'll be able to deal with my more embarrassing before pictures if the after picture looks awesome. If standing on stage, no shirt on, and I'm just like all built and ripped and everything, six pack and all that stuff, then who the hell cares about how embarrassing that my earlier flabby pictures were. So that's what I'm envisioning, that will soon be a reality, Like, we're in January still. So, I'm targeting summer, have a summer body by, summertime, June, July time, 6 months, I think 6 months from now, I could definitely have a pretty drastically transformed body, because between now and then, I could probably do at least 2 more cycles of going to the new diet regimen, the plant paradox eating, eating diet, and then cycle between doing that and working out, some intermittent fasting, and then do like a 20-day fast, then back to doing the diet, doing the eating regimen again, and then do another fast, going into as I'm going into summertime. So I think I would do that, hopefully complete a 40-day fast this first round, 3 months, about 2.5, 3 months or so of the new program, the eating, do a 20-day fast again, and then another 2 or 3 months of the diet program again, and then do another 20-day fast. So I think, so 40, 20, 20. I think that's probably what it's really going to take for me to really finally hit the target and body composition that I'm going for, that I'm aiming for. So that'll be like June, July-ish, maybe July-ish time, so I'm going to try to get there by mid-July time, mid to end July, mid-July to end of July time, to get to a place that I'm, really happy with. I'll keep working on it, but so that's what I'm imagining right now. And so I'm just like, it's totally doable. I just got to keep this regimen up, keep it going. So, let's see, anything else? So, energy level was a little, fluctuating through the day. I definitely don't, I didn't participate very much in my martial arts class, going back to my martial arts class. I definitely am noticing that, my energy level and my muscles, and my legs, like being, doing like kind of squatting down and, being like holding a low stance and stuff, is definitely feeling more taxing on my muscles, and my muscles are just feeling, more exhausted more quickly. And I know I'd had that experience before where I practiced for like a half an hour, like a week ago on my own, and then only after a half an hour I was just like, I'm too exhausted, feeling I have to stop. And so when I got there, for my class, they're practicing with sticks and knives, the serrata eskrima, and I chose to not even try to do much at all. Like, I pretty much was just sitting on the bench next to the mats, and just sitting there, and I just chose to just watch intently and just study all the moves and just just look for things that I was missing, So, so that was still good. It gives me a different perspective. Instead of just purely focusing on my own thing, trying to practice, I just spent most of my time studying very closely and taking mental notes of, where areas that I need improvement. I'm like, okay, I got to do that, move a little bit more this way. Oh, it's actually, it's like one of the moves is like, oh, I thought it was like a U shape. It's actually more like a, it's this kind of a truncated U shape instead, and stuff like that. So, so that was, and I'm starting to become more cognizant that I'm like, okay, I've pushed it to a month, and, now I'm kind of anticipating that all right, now probably, be, have a little, looking out for just overall energy level is starting to wane a bit. I know for the longest time I had like lots of energy, but because I've, depleted a lot in my system, I've probably, expended, over half, probably at least half, if not more than half of my reserves of nutrients and stuff like that in my system. So, so I'm kind of like now just being a little more cognizant of like, and try not to push myself too hard right now, especially if I want to go, till another 10 days or so, 40 days, that, final 10 days maybe a little bit lower energy than the prior few weeks. And so, gotta not push myself too hard, not stay up too late, not like go out doing stuff and then kind of just feeling really sleepy the next day or something. Because, there's still some work I need to complete, some jobs that I need to, some more advertising mural things that I got to put up. And I got to get that work done. So, so now I'm just like, okay, I think maybe I just need to opt out of doing certain other activities in favor of just resting more between jobs. And so that make sure I have enough energy to actually complete those jobs, because I definitely am behind on the incomes right now, because of, I'd worked a lot less and I was, way more restricted and limited to what kind of jobs I could do. I just couldn't do all these simple little hanging jobs, and I couldn't do like some of my other jobs where I'm like mounting TVs and installing lights and stuff, because it's like required me to have, either carrying a heavier weight or just like having to do a lot more like both arms above my head kind of work. And I just wasn't able to do that with my left arm, because of my collarbone. It's definitely gotten a lot better, and I'm definitely, a lot of the motion range has returned. I mean, I can almost do it. It still feels, but I could definitely see that the muscle around my left shoulder definitely seems like it's shrunken more. It's noticeably smaller than my right side. So I definitely, due to the lack of activity for a good period of time on this side, and the lack of carrying any load, it's definitely, I think the muscles have definitely kind of atrophied away a little bit here on my shoulder. So, so I realized that I'm definitely going to have to, I don't know, if it's just get some individual reps and stuff like that, like weights, to then, put some extra work on this left side to build it back up so that it more closely matches my right side. And, but I'm going to have to do workouts on, both shoulders, because I definitely want to build up my shoulder strength. So, yeah, so that's kind of it for right now. Yeah, and then, again, went to sleep, lights out by midnight, this time. So that was, so that was positive because I was feeling pretty sleepy, and just kind of had a really quiet last couple of hours for the evening. Just really, took time to wind down, which I think that's really helpful to wind down, give you time to wind down, turn your screens off, turn your phone screen off, read a book, just like ramp it down before turning off the lights, as opposed to like be going full speed, staring at videos on your phone, working on this, working on that, and then jump in bed and try to turn off the light. I mean, it's harder, it's like give yourself a transition, So, I think that's it for day 29. And And it's on to the big 3-0. So, all right. Till the next one.